Welcome to another episode of AhHa Moments. My name is Alban, and I'm joined by my two business partners, Hans and Kevin here.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Gentlemen, take 3 of trying to record this episode.
Not bad. Episode 4.
Episode 4.
Kevin, you did some research. How many episodes do we have to do to be in the top 1% of podcasters?
If you film 21 podcasts, you're in the top 1% of all podcasts.
Wow.
Well, we
That's
should be there
awesome.
by 2026, 2027.
Maybe a little longer.
Seems
right.
like a lucky number. To go on our last episode of ranting, the reason we had to try to redo this episode multiple times now is because our guest, one, wasn't here for the first time. The second time, missed a flight at my least favorite airport in the country,
Which one's that?
Atlanta.
Atlanta has a terrible airport.
It is the absolute worst airport. I don't think you guys know my hatred towards this airport. I have written to both the people that run the airport and the people that make the machines that scan the bags. And I've congratulated them on creating probably the worst process in the entire history of the country.
Well, let's take some notes. Let's put an airport south of the city when everybody lives and works north.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's make it 7 terminals, but everybody lands in the middle once.
Yep.
Let's make TSA pre-lines an hour and 15 minutes, but clear longer.
You know what they've done really good though?
What's that?
Their PR. I mean, people from Atlanta are so proud of this airport. They're like,
They're so
it
proud.
processes the most people in the country. I'm like, that's not a good thing.
That's true.
You can go to O'Hare or Midway, get through security, less than 5 minutes.
Right.
And you don't have to take a train.
You don't
a
have to-
plane train, an
plane
air
train, yeah.
Trains all over the place.
Trains all over the place. Hour 20, I think, easy hour 20 to get through security in Atlanta.
Have you tried the international terminal?
That's their number one.
That
Like,
is their
have you
number
been
one.
to the international terminal?
I don't know why. I
Yes.
have to go to the international
It's like
terminal.
landing in a different town, and then you have to take a train to get back to the you need to get to. So I think, by the way, I sent them this, like trolling them about it. Chicago, both O'Hare and Midway ranked some of the best for TSA screening.
Midway's
Midway's
about to get better.
About to get better.
How so?
This morning, they opened the first lounge in Midway's 90-plus year history.
Oh my goodness!
I think they said they have 6 seats available.
It's going to be the Midway of lounges.
It's
where do you
bring your own pretzels.
where do you learn this kind of information, Kevin?
We're on different internets.
I feel like we get different internets. Speaking of internets, this episode is titled "How Lucky Are You?"
How lucky. I like that.
Yeah,
I feel pretty lucky.
do you?
Yeah.
Do you guys feel lucky?
I think I feel lucky.
You should feel lucky, Kevin.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times do we have to show you winning a car on a game show before people know how lucky you are?
That is true.
Kevin, did you win a car on a game show?
I used to deny it, but then I realized that everything on the internet lives forever. So that clip is there.
It's still out there. David, can we spice the clip in really quick here just so we at least see Kevin dressed as a pizza slice winning a car?
Puts back in my pocket. You got to live with your decisions, my friend. Open that curtain.
It's a new Dodge Caliber!
We did win a car. Let's make a deal. Wayne Brady gave me a car on Let's Make a Deal. Had a great time.
So, do you think you were lucky or you were good at the game show?
It was a very difficult game. I had to pick yes or no on curtain number 2. So I'll default to I think luck might have been looking down on me that day.
It's a fantastic topic. It's probably my second favorite behind nature versus nurture is luck versus hard work.
We do need to do nature versus nurture.
We'll
That's
do
a
it.
good one.
We'll do it
Yeah,
at some
yeah,
point.
yeah.
But luck versus hard work is a fun one because people think you should be on either extreme. And I think we'll discuss today how it's a combination of the two.
What do you, Hans? Do you feel lucky, or do you
I
think?
feel very lucky.
Do you?
I do.
Okay, good.
I feel very lucky, but I do think that some of that hard work leads to luck. I think we'll touch on it in this episode.
So I was listening to Jesse Itzler. He founded Marquee Jets. He's on a bunch of other things since, including Zico, which is the coconut water to Coke deal. And it was the most fascinating thing of, I mean, we've had a ton of experiences doing this, but there's a lot to do with luck and being good, in my humble opinion. And my stance on it, and we'll talk about different examples here, is that I think you have to be both, right? I think luck has to be there, but you also have to be good. And he was talking about how sometimes making a sale or building a business or doing all this stuff, you have to be lucky, of course, but you also have to put in the time and the effort and the what's required to be successful. Is his stance on the whole thing. I mean, Hans, I feel like you have some opinions on this, but
I have a ton of opinions, but let's, I'm thinking we teased a guest last episode too.
Yeah.
And I think
Is
when
he
we think
a lucky
about
guest?
he's a lucky guest. Yes, he's not a special guest. He has to be a special guest. We said you're a guest first, and if people want you back, then you're special. So we'll see. But if you talk about kind of where we are on the lucky and hardworking continuum, it was lucky that we met this person when we did,
100%.
and some of his hard work paid off in getting us to meet him. So without further ado, should we introduce our guest?
We should. Is he here finally?
He's here.
I'm here.
Just landed.
Great to
Just
be
landed
here.
from Atlanta.
I am so sorry about the
I'm
Atlanta.
really happy to be here.
How was your experience at the Atlanta airport?
Yeah, it was not great. I certainly appreciate O'Hare and Midway and their TSA pre-check, especially after an experience like that. And I am of the type of person that tries to get to the airport very, very early ahead of time. And I still did it and still missed my flight. So I did not have a great experience, but I'm really happy to be back in Chicago.
And happy to be here too.
I have been asking to be a special guest for a while. Hans has corrected me on that, but I'm very happy to
You're
be
just
here.
lucky guest right now.
I feel very lucky.
Kevin's very happy to hear that you like to get to the airport early.
Sounds like you need to get there a little bit earlier.
So for the audience, this is Jake Schwartz. He joined us at the beginning of our journey. We unanimously agree that Jake and a few other people completely changed the trajectory of our company.
100%.
We wouldn't be here without Jake. I don't think Jake would be here without us.
Thank you.
And it's been a wonderful relationship. I have the email that you sent or the LinkedIn from March 9th, 2017.
Before you get to that, can you do like a 15-second, try to keep it short.
Yeah.
Introduction of yourself and some of your history before joining Inspire 11.
Yes. So my name is Jake Schwartz. My title is Managing Director of Revenue. I focus on managing over a variety of different relationships for our firm. I get the chance to work with our awesome practitioners and colleagues, as well as the folks that you all get to listen to on a regular basis on this podcast. I came through consulting sales. That was always my background. I have a passion for people. And so consulting is all people all the time. And so found my way to Inspire 11.
And can you tell us real quick, what was your first sales job?
My first sales job out of college was for a very large media company, but very shortly after that was actually for the Sacramento Kings, the basketball team.
Yes.
And really great experience. I love sports, loved working in it. Love Sacramento, frankly, too. And it was a really, really, really fun time.
Dialing for season ticket holder.
Yeah. Yes.
That's not an easy gig.
Yes.
I think that the hustle that Jake has brought to this operation is one of the most exciting things we've seen. But before we get there, so this is back in March of 2017. There's like 4 of us, if I remember correctly, and we have nothing to do because that's what happens when you start a company.
Twiddling thumbs.
We get a LinkedIn, and it's this very nice email from Jake, and I'm looking at Hans, and like, I don't know what this guy wants. We don't have any money.
He may be a stalker.
He may be a stalker, and I go, I'm just going to ignore it. And thank goodness Hans goes, we should go see if he has 2 heads or something. and we go meet Jake for a drink. Remember Beacon Tavern, which is no longer around. But it was such a great meeting that we decided, even though we have no money,
Yes.
we're going to bring Jake on. But what was really cool about that, and we'll talk about the luck side of things here, is he also agreed to take something obnoxiously low just to be able to go on this wild journey with us, right? Like a betting on himself, which is what we believe in people in general.
Right.
And so I think the luck part in that was that you sent a note and we decided to answer it.
Agreed. Very much so.
But I think, and this is the part where I think that the other part comes in, is Jake shows up day one. Hans and I are sitting in the conference room with him with no windows. I think you started dialing within 5 minutes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest
I
thing.
don't think he had a key card yet.
No.
I don't think he knew how to pronounce the name of our company yet.
No. And he kept saying the wrong
Inspire
name.
12.
He kept saying his old company name on the call, and they'd be like, I'm just kidding.
And the reason I bring this up is Jake has been wildly successful. I would say, I think I can say for all of us that we've never seen anybody as good as he is at his craft. But
Appreciate that.
And I think the luck is, again, send a note and try to, but then you show up, and the next part is the hustle that we've seen to date has been the most insane thing I think we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Very nice words. Thank you.
Do you consider yourself lucky?
I do. And I think following luck, I comes fortune too. Fortunate, I should say. Because I think oftentimes you all talked about like the hard work that goes into getting to luck. I think there's a ton of that. I'm a big believer in that too. But then when you do see luck happen, when you see someone respond to an email like that, you recognize that there definitely is luck in that. And then you recognize after that meeting how fortunate I am to actually find what I was looking for at that time too, because that is the definition of creating your own luck.
What do you think are some of the attributes that lucky people have in common?
I do think that an attribute is they work very hard, and hard is in a variety of different ways. But I think about it from the prep, the analysis, the control that they seek for a certain situation. It puts them in a situation where they do tend to get more lucky. But even that is, you have to question, like, is that luck or is that preparation that you put into it, right? And so I was right. As I was thinking about this, that was something that I always kept coming up to mind, is just like, do we create our own luck, and how much of that? And is it even luck at the end of the day that you can even call it something like that?
What do you think the relationship of risk and luck is, right? I think about you taking that risk of sending an email blind, right, to Alban, or even someone who is lucky by winning a lottery ticket, right? They still took the risk of going to buy that ticket. Yeah. Any thoughts there?
I think that's a really great question. I mean, I think, as you all would probably tell it, we both took risks in different ways. You obviously taking a much bigger risk than I did, but the risk for me was, the compensation part of it. But I knew that aligning myself to people that knew the vision, were thought leaders, were super strategic and great at their practitioner, I knew that risk was mitigated at that point. And instead it was more of a, what is the art of the possible? And then that's where the balance started to shift from just like risk mitigation to, wow, this could be a really cool thing.
Kevin and I were having a conversation about this topic before jumping on this podcast. And I was like, the one kind of common theme that I can think is you can't do anything without taking action.
Yes.
You can't win a lottery without buying a lottery ticket.
So
as funny as that sounds, like you have no opportunity to win a lottery. It's like in general, the odds are stacked against you. But if you don't buy the lottery ticket, you're never going to win, right? And so when I look at, I do onboarding as we all do for our company, and two of my favorite slides are our core values and our core beliefs. And one of our core values is take bold risks and actions. One of our core beliefs is bias for action and ownership. And it's like, if you're not being that creator out there, you're never going to have any luck.
So true.
That's right.
I, speaking of lottery ticket, I woke up this morning and my mom passed away 7 years ago. And I was thinking about the fact that we're even sitting in this room. I go, it wouldn't happen, I don't think, if she didn't, we go to the camp and she actually signed us up for the opportunity to win the lottery to come to America, right? Wow. And I was thinking about that today. I'm like, to your point, you cannot win the lottery without actually showing up to buy a ticket or registering for it. Yes. And then the second part is luck. But then the third part is, what do you do with it, right? Because the other piece is, I think we've all, whether it's coming to America or starting a business or going to a client, if somebody all of a sudden gives you the opportunity to have that conversation or be somewhere, what do you do with it, right? That's the second piece to your point of preparation and hard work and everything else, because when we met each other, great. That could have even been just fine.
So true.
But because you brought something to the table and you thought we brought something to the table, that's when magic happens in all of this.
Yes.
The second piece that I think I'll bring up in this is, and I think there's a part of Jesse's Isler saying, and even a Zuck story, which we'll talk about in a minute here, is once you get lucky, sometimes the thing to realize luck is also extremely, extremely hard work, where it will break most people, right? Which is, all of a sudden we start this thing, we start going to meetings, we start doing this crazy stuff. There's no sleep, but we kept going. Mm-hmm. Yes. And what was interesting about Jesse, I didn't realize this, Jesse Isler, is he's an ultra marathon runner. I guess he runs like 100Ks. It's super like big in the running community. Yeah. Imagine, right? Like it's just a guy. And he said, he realized that it wasn't about the physical part. It was about how much pain you can tolerate when you're out in these races, which is, we think we can only tolerate this much, and most people break. He goes, when you've reached your breaking point, you're only a third of the way there.
Wow. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's nuts. One of the things that you touched on earlier in our conversation too was, right, if you're really good at something, but you have no luck, you're probably not going to go very far. Yeah. And if you're very lucky, but then you're not good at the thing that you got lucky with, it's probably going to lead to bad results.
And we've seen that all over organizations. Right. We've seen it in our friends' lives and stuff. Some people can get any meeting, end up anywhere, but nothing ever moves forward.
right.
Right. And there are others that are really good that just don't have, unfortunately, I think sometimes some good luck.
So we can guess on like what brings people good luck. And I asked you the question, what do you think the attributes are? But there's been academics that have done research on this. There's a really cool book called The Luck Factor by Richard Wiseman. It was written probably 20 years ago or so. And he has 4 essential things for luck. And I think you'll agree with these. So I'll just name them real quick. Positive attitude, openness to new experiences, social connections, resilience and adaptability, and then proactivity. I know that's 5. But here's the thing. Like it's being open to experiences. You can't do anything if you don't have that. If you notice, lucky people usually are really positive. Yeah. And everybody says, well, you're positive because you're really lucky. Like chicken or egg.
Yeah.
Right. Like, who are you attracting in your life at that point? Yeah, I'd be pretty bummed if I wasn't very lucky too. You know?
Kevin, what was the Matthew McConaughey line? Does the arrow find the target?
All right. It's that list as you went through those 6 items, Hans, I think that defines Jake.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
You guys are too nice.
I agree.
The social piece that you brought up was something that stuck with me. And I think what we're talking about is like meeting people. People is at the center of all of this. And it felt like even at the early stage, we had that core group of people in our company and outside. But even after that, that social network with the right people, with amazing people, kept growing and growing and growing. And that's a huge driver for a lot of our growth.
What would you say to somebody that tends to be more introverted, right? How do they build these social connections or make themselves available for the experiences that might lead to luck?
Well, using the 5 attributes that you had brought up, I mean, maybe aside from the social part of it, all 4 are traits that anybody can do, right? At the end of the day, and I think those 5 that you summarized are dead on. Yep. And when I think about it, I mean, positivity, openness, resiliency, all of those are things that you can outwardly say or you can exhibit through doing something, whether you say something or not. And those are really, those are really well stated way of putting it.
Jake, rapid fire questions really quick.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't ready.
This
for
is
this.
like super. We're gonna keep this simple.
Okay.
What was your favorite sale? You don't have to name a client.
It was one that it was a connected device platform that we all know very well.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Very early stage. I think it might be good to tell the story, but
hey, let me tee it up with this. Is the part that I actually love, and I'm glad you brought this up. I'm walking to work in the morning, and Jake has put a coffee meeting on our calendar. I have zero desire. I tend to be more introverted. Like half the time, I try to cancel every meeting before I go to it. I go, Jake, I don't want to go to this meeting. This is the luck part.
It was.
I go, Jake, I don't want to go to this meeting.
It was.
I think the client had the same.
And the client didn't want to be there either.
No.
Yes.
The perfect combination. Gonna be a great meeting.
Oh my God.
Way to set that up, Jake.
And 7-year partnership now?
Yes. I mean, we literally, Kevin and I were just talking about it, connected with them. I mean, it's just a great partnership, and it's one that we continue to reference, but it was also just one where, there's just so much innovation baked into that. So that was my favorite one.
We can actually say it was Great Dane, and we created the smart trailer platform at Goddess and the Grocer at Wacker and Lake.
That's right. That's exactly right.
At a meeting that neither Mike or I wanted to be at.
And now it's transformed an industry.
Now it's transformed an entire industry, right? All right. Second thing, Jake, what are you seeing in the market today? Obviously, things have changed over the years and what we're selling and what we're pursuing. What gets you excited about what demand you're seeing out there?
I think overall modernization is probably the overarching umbrella thing that we're seeing. And modernization is bigger than just AI. I know that we talk a lot about it. It is definitely something that we are seeing and doing on a regular basis. But I think a modernization is even the infrastructure and architecture that supports all of those capabilities that we're building for clients. So that is definitely something. But the AI front is, it is ever changing at this point. And that's from automation all the way through Gen AI right now. We're getting to the point now with a lot of our clients where it's become less of a POC and more of we need to productionalize this and roll this out to more and more personas within our organizations, which is a really, really exciting place to be.
There is definitely, we tend to focus on the latest and greatest, obviously AI right now being at the top of the list of things that are popular, but you don't understand that every company to date still runs on mainframes.
Yes.
And even when you have a cool user experience on the front end, there's super antiquated technology and very reliable antiquated on the back end. And I think I agree with you. The modernization, not just of the front end, now of the back end, is the greatest, biggest opportunity we have ahead of us. And I'm this is not an original thought, but I do think AI is similar to the steam engine and similar to the plow, the next revolution. But in order to go through that, you do have to take into consideration what is the foundation of companies and how they run today to be able to enable the new world that's ahead of us.
And I think what Jake does better than most is helping clients understand that it's a human enabler, not a replacement for them.
Yep. That's right.
At the end of the day, he's really good at humanizing.
You are the
experience.
greatest advocate of everybody on that side from a human perspective.
Wait, rapid fire one more time.
Oh, no.
Roadie or Naf? We won't share that story.
Roadie.
Okay.
I think we have to share. I'll say this: we had this agreement that Hans would go to the suburb meetings with Jake, and I would go to the downtown ones unless we went together. And one day they get back, and Hans walks in the office, shuts the door, goes, "Get Jake away from me." I'm like, "What did he do?" And then I go see Jake, and he goes, "Hans is mean to me."
Yeah, this was back. Jake didn't have a car,
Jake
so
didn't
he
have a car.
required a lift to
Yeah.
every suburb meeting.
Yeah.
I don't know that we had an agreement. I think he just said you have to go. And so I would drive him out to the suburbs. We would have these sales meetings, and then every once in a while we'd have to stop for food.
Yeah.
And so every once in a while we would stop for food at where I wanted to eat. And one time he got really upset at where I stopped. And he's like, "But I want to go to this other place." I'm like, "Well, my car is here."
And that's where we're gonna go.
And he tried to explain to me that it's the sharing economy now. And I'm like, "What are you sharing with me, Jake?"
I feel very fortunate for all the rides Hans has given me. Thank you, Hans.
Yeah. Jake now has a car.
When I asked
car.
when I asked Jake, and he's like, "Hans is mean to me," and I think you called him a name, and then I go, "Well, were you being that name?" The other thing,
And I bought a car the next day.
I thought your other favorite sale, not sale. This is worth. Hans has a lot of alliterations with his name, right? Like clap your Hans together.
Yeah, sure. Put your Hans together.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Jazz Hans.
You're all in good. You're all in good, Hans. We went to Allstate, and Jake walks out as he's waiting for the client to come out, and I'm on the ground, and Hans is trying to block the
D in hands. For you're in good hands.
So it could say Allstate, you're in good hands, with a giant banner out front. And the client comes to get us like the president of massive unit, and then we're like children.
We landed them as a client.
It worked out.
Yes, it did
it
work
worked out. So
That was very fun.
I have to tell a tiny little story here, and then we'll go on this whole luck thing, because I think, Jake, you also exhibit this. I was reading about how Zuck and Facebook ended up acquiring Instagram. So it turns out the founder of Instagram was good friends with Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter. Okay. And as Instagram was growing, it had $0 in revenue, by the way, 20 employees. Jack Dorsey wants to buy it, and they agreed to $550 million. Okay. By the way, it's like Thursday of Good Friday, then Easter weekend. And then Sequoia goes, "Don't sell it. It's going to grow bigger. Go ahead and we'll fund you. Just keep the company for the same valuation." Zuck hears about this, and he goes, "I want to buy it." And the guy goes, "I'm good. I'm funded, and I'm going to keep this and grow it." For the record, Instagram's net worth today is bigger than I think a third of the world's countries combined. That's how big of it's massive. Zuck goes, "I want to buy it, and I'll pay $1 billion." He goes, "But here's the caveat. I'll pay you double whatever they want." He goes, "We're doing the deal this weekend." So they start working on the deal, okay? And Sequoia and the other folks who think they have a deal, they go for about their weekend because, the work starts again on Tuesday after whatever. And they wake up to find out that Instagram sold to Facebook over the weekend. And this is the part where, again, I'll go back to, and I think what got us here, it was, you got to go to the things, you got to show up to meetings, you got to take the meetings. But then when the opportunity shows up, if you don't know how to close the deal, it's not your deal.
Very good point.
Jack Dorsey had $550 million. He had the opportunity.
Yeah.
Missed it, right?
Yeah.
And I think what we did, especially in the beginning with Jake, and what we continue to do is, one, be lucky enough to have the opportunity to capitalize on it, because it's the right thing to do.
So perfect segue to kind of completing this interview. And thank you for being our first guest. I think you're special.
Oh my gosh.
there you go.
We did it. Thank you so much for calling me special guest.
So this podcast is called AhHa Moments. We like to leave people with like the AhHa moment of the podcast, right?
Okay.
So real quickly, what would be an AhHa moment you want the audience to take away from being lucky?
I think that if you ever have those moments of either people reaching out to you, or you see an opportunity to reach out to those people, whoever they may be proactive and do it.
Awesome.
because chances are it's going to lead to something good.
Love it. Kevin, same question.
Can I say ditto? I mean, that's hard.
Sure.
That's hard to beat. Is reach out, take those risks, and then figure out how to capitalize on it.
All right. Mine is like attracts like, and luck is contagious. So if you want to be lucky, surround yourself with lucky people.
Oh, so true.
I couldn't agree more. I'll say this, by the way, in your traits, it didn't say anywhere you should complain, victim mentality, blame others. None of those were traits of lucky people. I'll take our friend Danny's thing along the lines of, don't just look for people to give to you, actually flip it. Because I think the more you try to give to the world, the luckier you get, in my humble opinion, right? The whole give and take, we've talked about this.
So true.
Connect with the idea of like symbiotic as opposed to I want something. And then when it shows up, hopefully take advantage of it. That's all on our side. Anything?
No, I'm excited. 17 more podcasts and we'll be in the top 1%.
Look at that.
Excited
I'm
for
excited
that.
too.
I think we have an idea on the next couple too. I'm excited. I'm not even going to tease it because then we're trapped.
We're on the
There's good stuff coming though.
I do think we have a couple great, exciting guests coming up as well. So we're excited. Thank you for joining us. Jake, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. And we look forward to the next podcast.
Thank you. Be lucky out there.